Live from digital address GA0992539 in Kakomemli, Accra, on DSTV channel 421 and Go TV channel 144 on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We're Joy News on TV. This is JoyNews Interactive, and I am Mapizo CBD. Now, the next episode of JoyNews' citizen-driven series, Dear Nanado, captures the worrying state of the homeless, including children sleeping rough on the streets of Accra. Chapter 6 of the NPP's 2016 manifesto says the NPP government would develop housing units targeted at vulnerable and marginalized. But now, what's the situation on the ground? That's what we have been finding out on this week's Dear Nanado.
Ain't got no home, ain't got no shoes, ain't got no money, ain't got no class, ain't got no skirts, ain't got no sweaters. Ain't got no perfume, ain't got no love, ain't got no faith.
The Kwame Nkrumah Interchange, popularly known as Dubai, a home to many homeless people in the capital. A mother covers her baby from the cold.
Ain't got no brother, ain't got no children.
A husband, a wife, and a son slam it out on the cold concrete pavement because they do not have anywhere to lay their heads.
As far as the people know, when I lead this for lead, we then stop it like bulu bulu standuru.
Paragraph 4 of President Nana Akufo-Addo's vision to be president stated he chose to run for president because of the young man who never had a chance to go to school but is sleeping rough on the street of Accra.
We were not the one who tell him to say that thing in his manifesto. Neither we writing him letter to alert us by that. He is the one come out direct and told us that this and that is what he is going to do. So we are praying for God to touch his heart.
God bless our homeland, Ghana. God bless our homeland.
Dear Nanado.
Let's go to our Facebook page and see what you have been saying about this week's Dear Nanado. We'll start with Mohammed Sika, who says, why should you build a cathedral when there are a bunch of homeless people? What is happening in Africa? I can't stop my tears from flowing. Netquick, who says, if we can't provide homes for the homeless, which is a basic necessity for all, what is the essence of free SHS, he's asking. If we can't build for God's children to stay in, what is the essence of a cathedral? If we are this poor as a country in the face of abundant resources, what is the sense in priding ourselves with Ghana beyond aid mantra? Nothing makes sense to me anymore, and it's because our leaders are wicked and lack common sense. Isaac says, we need buildings for commons and less privileged. I don't think it should be free of charge, but rather less costly with regulations as to who is eligible for it. Otherwise, rich men will rent them for their laborers. Nana Kwame says, government is rather demolishing buildings to put up something else. Observers are worried. Zakaria Kinda says government should step in rent control and implement the rent laws, and if possible institutionalize the rent system to make a fixed price for rent and proper payment plan, and this will help. Some people have something that can afford them a decent place, but the way landlords charge unreasonable charges and 2-year advance. This one is from Ed Samuel, who says, with this, politicians would not throw phantom promises around just because they want to win power. Citizens will be informed next time. It's fantastic. Emmanuel Abaja says everywhere in the world there are homeless people. It's not the responsibility of the government. It's not only the responsibility of the government. We all need to help one another. That's our culture. The family is our social security. Make sure to catch that episode tonight on Joy News Prime at 7:20 p.m. Now, the flag bearer of the opposition National Democratic Congress, NDC, John Dramani Mahama, has challenged President Nana Akufo-Addo to immediately cut the size of his government by about 40 ministers and deputy ministers. This, he says, will bring efficiency by reducing government expenditure and help balance the budget. Now, Mr. Mahama says the reduction of the number of ministers will make no difference to the already lackluster performance of the Akufo-Addo administration. The number of ministers serving under the Akufo-Addo government jumped from 110 to 123 ministers in February 2019, following the appointment ministers and deputy ministers to the 6 newly created regions. Now, a lot of people have had says and opinions about the elephant size of the Akufo-Addo administration, but let's go to Facebook and see what she had to say. Isaac Donto says the seriousness that the president shown in extending the punishment of the Galam says, can he show some on corruption? Alfred Doughty says a challenge to the elephant size, world record size government. James says the truth is bitter, but it's good to say I'm strong. I'm in strong NPP. Member 2020 election, John Mahama is go live. I'm go used to what? Okay, to support NDC. This has taken us for granted. Okay, I'm not sure I understand that comment, but okay. The truth is bitter. That's the most important part of that comment. Gordon from Pong says, in fact, NPP government is wasting time on the double salary saga. Let's know those people who took that money and the quantum of the money. All this noise will stop. Mr. President, act now and act fast. Tijani says the truth is bitter, and Kwesi Techi says I agree with you this time. Adam says, this one, yeah, I agree with John Mahama. Some of these ministerial positions are just job for the boys. However, as a typical Ghanaian politician, JM is only seeing clearly now because he's in opposition. Bring him to power now and the narrative will change at once. He'll even have more appointments and tell us the mess created by NPP requires more hands to fix. The vicious cycle goes on. God help Ghana and make us strong and great again. Papa Kwame says elephant-sized government without any meaningful productivity. And Stephanie Smith says, yeah, right. We can use their salaries to employ 2017 nursing graduates. And Ruben Nakpasan says, now who should we blame? Having few ministers and paying them double salary or more ministers? Kasim Latif says, there is no country in this world which has the number of ministers we have. 120 ministers, 123 ministers. Please, let's leave politics aside and face the real facts. The number is too much. The president in 2016 promised us that he will protect the public purse if he's given the opportunity. Now, what are we seeing? All these people are taking pay and allowances, but for those who don't know about politics, should keep their mouth shut. The double salaries you're talking about are not in the government. And all right, so come a social media shouting for people to hear you. Go to court if you want to pass. Government officials are still in Ghana. Okay. Interesting comment there. And Joseph Ofori says, so we can't have a national policy where all these things will be stated to guide any party at all who comes to power. And Jones says NPP and NDC are playing with our lives. Politicians without ideology is plenty in Ghana indeed. Mahama with 89 ministers telling somebody to cut his to 40. So 40 men can do, and you were using 89 men. Were you protecting public purse? We have senseless size of government, and that had brewed high rates of corruption. That has brewed high rates of corruption. All right, we'll be taking a quick breather. When I come back, I'll be taking you through some Twitter trends, and trending at #1 is Senior Hosi. You don't want to miss it. Welcome back from that breather. Before we took a break, I told you we'll be taking some of the Twitter trends, and at #1 is businessman Senior Hosi, who has unloaded on the management of the University of Ghana, considering them for incompetence, and a rant that has gone viral. At Ghana's premier university's event marking its 70th anniversary, the CEO of Bulk Oil Distributors, standing in front of an audience, directed his tirade at management and lecture, stressing that you guys are not thinking, and I quote, "You're churning out people with degrees, not people with an education, not people with skills," and unquote. Now, the entrepreneur who said he bags 3 degrees from the university has been trending on Twitter at #1. Let's see what you have been saying. At Simon says, those who genuinely oppose oppression and destructive leadership are few. There are more of greedy agitators around. #stop the hypocrisy. At Aaron_game time says, what can I say, bro? It is worse in KNUST, and you know, let's not go far with our course. We're still on 1990 editing styles without innovation. How dare you make suggestions to a lecturer? He will get angry and make things tough. But how Senior Hosi said it, it'd be some way. At Daniel_Ombwaming says, Senior Hosi is saying the truth to the management of the University of Ghana, but sometimes be sure you don't lose yourself trying to help someone else find themselves. Oh, that could go for Monday motivation. Be sure you don't lose yourself trying to help someone else find themselves. We'll take it for our Wednesday wisdom. And at Kwame_Frimpong says, all what he said, I mean, Mr. Senior Hosi, was a fact and on point. If our education system is what they say it is, why do they prefer Western education for their wars either? Be in Ghana, here or outside, the hypocrisy is real and it's sad. At Moscow71 says, what Senior Hosi did should be what the SRCs in various tertiary institutions should be doing. But they are more interested in making outrageous dues from students and embarking on projects which are relatively of no relevance. At Freddy Ted1 says, Donald Senior Hosi, Trump, you do all. Give it to them. No sentiments. At Samuel Otu says, after watching the video, I think Senior Hosi's verbal aggression exposed his lack of communication skills. The concerns he raised may be valid because of the gap between industry and academia, and this is nothing new. At Francis 3 Hardy says, what Senior Hosi said about University of Ghana is true for almost all the tertiary institutions in Ghana and spoke the bare truth. My brothers and sisters, you can be begrudged him for all you care, but he spoke the truth. At Jerry John A says, Senior Hosi's statement about Legon was unfair. Total disrespect to the university. What pains me the most is that he's an alumni. At David Apia _PR says, I totally agree with my grandpa, Senyo Hosi. University of Ghana and all other public universities for that matter should up their game. I travel with students a lot to participate in various international programs, and I know what I'm saying. I'm going to take a quick breather. We'll be back with Tech Talk.